Exactly.
Okay, we ready?
Here we go. Good morning. This meeting is now called to order. Ms. Gaynor, will you introduce our visitors, please?
Good morning. Start over here with Barry from his usual chair. Barry Mock, our General Counsel, Valerie Maxwell, Director of Budget, Vice President Marilyn Foley, and Howard Farrell. In this back corner, we have Dr. Jeremy Duff with the Faculty Senate. We have Provost Betty Stewart, Education Reporter Lana Sweeten-Schitz from the TRN, Vice President Keith Lamb, Athletics Director Charlie Carr. We have Reagan Foster from the Staff Senate and CD Ashlock with the President's Office.
Thank you so much. Welcome and thank you for participating in our committee meeting yesterday. Just a reminder that we are streamed live on the internet. Please silence or turn off your cell phones. We provide an opportunity for the public to comment concerning the agenda items at the beginning of each meeting. It appears that no one has signed in, and so we will move on. Thank you. All right, we will take items 15-200, 15-201, and 202 together. These are the approval of the minutes of the May-June meeting of the board. Are there any additions or corrections? If not, they stand approved as presented. We will now move on to the consent agendas. The executive committee met yesterday, and our report is as follows. Item presented for committee approval only, 15-174, the committee minutes. Item presented for information only, 15-175, the campus master plan construction update. 15-176, the student housing project. Items approved by the committee and placed on the consent agenda. 15-177, Wichita Falls Museum of Art at MSU Advisory Board. Approved appointments to the advisory board as presented. 15-178, Wichita Falls Museum of Art at MSU ratification associate artworks. Ratified the accession of the items presented. I recommend approval of these consent agenda as presented. Would anyone like to remove the items for the consent agenda for further discussion? If not, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries. Stumbled, sorry. Dr. Gibbons, please present the Academic and Student Affairs Committee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Academic and Student Affairs Committee met yesterday, and our report is as follows. We had one item presented for committee approval only, which was approved, and that was 15-179, the committee minutes. 5 items were presented for information only. Item 15-180, the faculty report. Item 15-181, the staff report. 15-182, the student government report. 15-183, the athletics report, and 15-184, the enrollment report for the summer of 2015. The following items were approved by the committee, and we would now like to place on the consent agenda. Item 15-185 was the August 2015 graduating class. Committee approved the list of candidates for graduation. 15-186 was the realignment of the academics departments. We approved the realigning of the Department of Chemistry, Geosciences, and Physics to a Department of Chemistry and Physics and a Department of Geosciences as they were presented to us and do place on the consent agenda. 15-187 was the MSU Policies and Procedures Manual. Accepted and approved changes to the policies noted below as presented. A was policy 3.217, donation of sick leave. B was policy 3.220, work breaks. C was a new policy on academic lecturers. D was the deletion of policy 4.170, the weight training room. 15-188 was tenure. We approved granting of tenure to the following faculty. Margaret Brown Marston, PhD, Biological Sciences. Raj Desai, DIT, Industrial Technology. Chairman Bernhardt, I recommend approval of this consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone like to remove the items from the consent agenda for further discussion? If not, the committee chair has recommended approvals. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? The motion carries. I will now present the Finance Committee report. Items presented for committee approval only was 15-189, the committee minutes. Items presented for information only, 15-190, Summary of financial support. 15-191, report on Texas Public Investment Act changes. Items approved by the committee and placed on the consent agenda. 15-192, the financial reports, except that the monthly financial reports for the April through June 2015. Items -193, investment report, except the third quarter 2015 investment report. Item 15-194, personnel report, changes in fiscal year 15 budget, ratifies the changes as presented. 15-195, university accounts, approves signature authorizations as presented. 15-196, approval of assets totaling accounts, investment vehicles, and brokers and dealers, approve this list as presented. 15-197, operating budget for the fiscal year 2016, approved the $103,352,620 operating budget for the fiscal year 2015 and 16 as presented. I recommend approval for these consent agenda as present or as presented. Would anyone like to remove the items from consent agenda for further discussion? If not, do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Ms. Burks, please present the Audit, Compliance, and Management Review Committee report.
Mr. Bernhardt, the Audit, Compliance, and Management Review Committee met yesterday, and our report is as follows. We had one item presented for committee approval only, 15-198, the committee minutes. And we had an item presented for information only, item 15-199, audit activities and audit plan. That concludes our committee report.
Ms. Burks. All right. Item 15-203, Board of Regents meeting dated for 2015-2016. The proposed meeting dates for the coming year are listed in your agenda. Does anyone know of any conflicts of any of these dates? If not, they are approved as presented. I'm sorry? Yeah, 15.
They're in your actual agenda book. And under Board Agenda tab at the very back, page 2. They're all the second week of the month except for August, and we generally do that the first week of the month. Of course, May is coordinated with graduation.
Does anyone know of any conflicts of these dates at this moment? I will take it as they approved as presented. All right. Item 15-204, the President's report. Dr. Rogers, please. I think this will be your last official report to us.
Okay. Legislative session. Debbie and I have talked about this, and you've heard so much about the legislature. Our tuition revenue bond was approved at a very, very significant level relative to other schools. We're very proud of that. And what I've done, though, is to ask them to go through probably how many different acts and legislative changes that will affect Midwestern State or have some long-term, short-term significance to us. And so I'm going to let the person who really knows and is over that sort of bring us up to date on that one, and then we'll move on to the next legislative session after that.
Well, and quite honestly, we have talked about most of this legislation a lot, and I did include, we included my legislative summary in the agenda, and what I tried to do was just pick those things that did affect higher ed, and put it out there, send it to the vice presidents, and I know that it goes on into the deans and the directors, because while we all know what these bills the work that will be involved, it's the people on the ground who are going to be doing it. Student Affairs has a lot of things that they have to do, some policy changes as far as campus sexual assault policies and some other things that will be coming down the pipe. Of course, campus carry, we've talked about that a lot. And we had the Council of Presidents met this summer, and they're still getting things put together. It wasn't like there was a unified plan, but I know the systems are all working on it. And the Student Affairs Vice Presidents met this summer, and had some experts in the field come in. So we will be talking to the faculty, staff, and students. That was one of the requirements of the law. Of course, our TRB funding. We also have some big changes for various areas. He mentioned yesterday in contracting. We're very thankful that Barry did all of that legwork and got us on the right track with our contracting policies so that there'll be less for us to do, but he'll be having to go back in and tweak it. For the boards of regents, there's just a few changes for the new regents. They won't be able to take action on budgetary or personnel matters until they've gone through certain trainings. And as you all know, you have to go through coordinating board training within 2 years of your appointment. That's just going to move that up a little bit. The board member can still serve, but they just can't make those decisions. And now, as Nancy just discovered, the coordinating board has put some of their training online, so it's making it easier to meet the requirements of this new law. There's some HR changes. I'm sure it was just a riveting reading for you as you looked through here. Some academic changes as well. Dr. Stewart will be meeting with the faculty to talk about the changes in the AP credit. We will now be required to accept the score of a 3 for our courses unless the academic people can justify the reasoning to say it needs to be a 4 or higher than a 3. So there'll be work in all of the different areas. There's always things that the financial people have to take into account. So if you saw any of the legislation here that you have questions about, please let me know. But it was an interesting session. You never know what bills are going to pop up, and I can tell you that the legislators are already at work thinking about what they're going to do in 2017. You're welcome.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Can you talk a little bit, or is now the right time, we can certainly delay it, about the guns on campus? We have the legislation. I understand the legislation. Can we talk about what we do at this point, or is this the right time?
It's still a little early for us to talk about what we do. I know Dr. Shipley has been very plugged in, and I know that we talked about how to get the campus community involved and get those opinions known. A lot of it's going to be educating the campus first on what we can and can't do, because with the law we can't just exclude ourselves from allowing campus carry. So it will be, we then have to start determining what places on campus we feel perhaps have the most risk, or whatever determining factor, but it will involve a lot of dialogue, and we have until August of 2016 to make that determination.
And I would expect we would have a policy then at the university that agrees with the state law, but is our implementation of it
Exactly.
next year.
Exactly. And the Board of Regents does have input. The law states that the president sets the policy, and then within 90 days or 60 days of setting that policy, board must review it, and you all have the final say. If you disagree with it, you can change it, whatever.
And between now and August, what is the law?
It's just as it is.
Okay.
The only guns that can be on campus must be in like someone's automobile, in a trunk, so they can't.
You have your slogan ready, things
If you've read the legislation and not comment, there's a lot that could be said about it. To a pretty significant degree, is rather open-ended. It does specify the procedures that we must follow. We must consult, the administration must consult with the students, consult with the faculty, the administration, and as Debbie said, it's written in such a way that the president makes the final determination, but then brings it to the board for review. I have an idea that Dr. Shipley will keep you all and get your opinions all the way through this process, because ultimately we're going to all be responsible for it. And the interesting thing about it is the questions that I've received from our faculty is that many people were under the impression that this law went into effect maybe September 1st of this coming academic year. It does not. We've got a year to review it. And I was asked, I've been asked, and Debbie has too, many questions about, well, could the committee possibly give the faculty the authority to put their backpacks and all firearms around the side of the classroom? And the response from the legislature was, we can't do anything that basically negates this policy. So it's going to take a lot of research. I will say, though, that I do believe from our conversations with the Council of University Presidents that the universities are not going to go off, I don't believe, in really diverse directions about what they do about firearms on campus. We'll be consulting with other universities and finding out what they're doing and determine what can be done. So it's going to be a long and turn and difficult proposition to put this together. So I'm sure Dr. Shipley will start with it really as soon as she gets here.
And let me add that, so there's the open carry law. That was specifically written to say that you cannot carry openly on a college campus. So part of the issue, part of the things that people don't understand is everyone who wanted to carry a concealed handgun to register, but that negates the concealed part of the handgun law. So, but they will not ever be able to carry openly on campus as the legislation is currently in statute.
This will be a difficult problem.
It will be difficult.
And that's it.
B?
Yes, sir, please.
I have to be careful with this, as I saw a good friend last night, John Bridgman. Many of you remember serving this board. He used to tell me that I was a man of many words, so I have to be careful. Particularly when I'm talking about Dr. Walter W. Dahlquist. I don't know if you'll find this interesting or not. I'm just glad for Karen not to be here to tell me to be quiet about telling stories. I got to know a young biologist named Dr. Norman Horner. We came here the same year in 1967. He was a biologist. I was a chemist. And we'd meet in his office, and I'd eat half of his peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and he'd eat half of whatever I had, just to vary things, and we became very close friends. We also became good friends with a man that was really already a legend at this university, been here since 1952. It's Dr. Walter W. Dahlquist. Dahlquist not only was one of the finest scientists that I've ever known, he was just quite a character. And his interests ranged from the megafauna of the Pleistocene to bats to he published the number of papers that he published in scientific journals is legend. I don't know, somewhere between 200 and 300 scientific papers he wrote. I found 7 of his books when I was cleaning out my office. He produced a program for PBS on the evolution of the horse in North America, and the students loved Dr. Dahlquist. He was very hard, very rigorous teacher, and they could regale you with stories for a day about this man. But Dr. Horner and I enjoyed going to the field with Dr. Dahlquist in our time off, and so we got to know him. Dr. Dahlquist, about that time, bought 2 sections of land in the Trans-Pecos. It is probably true that he bought the land without seeing it. He bought it from the Alpine, Texas paper. We don't know why he bought it. He just wanted some land in the Trans-Pecos to go to. Well, it turns out that piece of, and then later, to jump ahead, his widow, Rose, gave us land around it, around the canyon that he had bought, and then later the university was purchased more land to give us enough surface around one of the most incredible pieces of property I believe that exists in the state. It's different even than the Trans-Pecos. Dr. Horner and I always dreamed of being able to do, for our field biologists and geologists, to do research in that area, and dreamed of a way of having a place out there for people to stay and study and work without having to bear all the heat and the rain and everything. So actually, through the generosity of a number of people here in Wichita Falls, we were able to build a research station. It is complete. This is the sort of thing that separates Midwestern State University from many other universities. It is a place in this country, this land, that is absolutely ripe for so many kinds of research. We will allow other universities to do research on the land, and we too will take our students and do research on the property. So it is a real asset to the university, and we're grateful to Rose and Walt for giving the university that land for research. When the building on there is very complex to build because of the desert soils, because of the extreme desert climate and winds and so forth. So I have to compliment the architect, Dick Bundy, who did a brilliant job on it. The contractor was a man who lived near Alpine and knew how to build in that country. So it is quite a facility. I wish you could all see it at some time. Dr. Horner loves any opportunity to take people to see the property and to see it. It's breathtaking. Julie decided, where's Julie Gang?
She's our.
She better not let me down. I'm sorry to talk so long. I told you I would. Julie thought that the press of Wichita Falls ought to have an opportunity to see some of the things that Midwestern State University has, particularly this piece of land. So I said, Julie, you planned this day. Well, it turned out to be a really wonderful day. The Kimball family was kind enough to fly much of the Wichita Falls press and me and Julie there. Dr. Horner met us with several of our faculty members there in pickups to take us to it, and I'm going to let Julie pick it up from then on. And I hope that you had the opportunity to read the stories that appeared in the Wichita and the Times and Record News and on our TV stations. Julie.
Great. Thank you so much. This was just an absolutely wonderful day. As we started getting close to the completion of the site, we started getting some calls saying, hey, can we go out there and tour? And I thought, oh goodness, it's such a remote location. What can we do? And so I thought, it'd be really nice if I could find a way to get all the media out there, as many as possible. And, having worked in a smaller market, I know that that's very difficult for media to sacrifice a reporter and a photographer for a complete day when they have such a small staff. But I thought, let's try it and see what happens. And so we had some papers, and so on a very cool July 1st day, actually it wasn't as bad as you think it was for July, it was pretty nice, we set off for Marfa. And as Dr. Rogers said, Burke Royalty was kind enough to give us access to their plane, and so with us on the trip were Lana Sweeten-Schultz and Lauren Roberts. Lauren was also one of our students at Midwestern. Taylor Barnes from KAUC and their photographer Joshua Rowe, and then Christina Abeda, she was with our Wichita staff, wanting to make sure that our student media was included as well. And then additionally, when we arrived, the radio station wanted to take part in this as well, and so Dr. Horner dropped him by to do a brief spot, and I will be contacting the radio station because they'd like to do a longer segment. They have a 30-minute segment that they do for interviews, and so I will be coordinating with them to get some of our faculty and some of our student researchers on there to talk to them about things going on at the site. I did have some interest from the Alpine newspaper, but the gentleman called me back the day before and said, I'm so sorry, but I can't come. So I'm in contact with him to make sure he receives the information he needs. Hopefully you've read some of the stories. We had, Lana wrote a 2-part series. Christina also had something on the website for the Wichitan, and Taylor Barnes did a fabulous job for Channel 6. I know Lana's story was picked up in Abilene and San Angelo. And anyway, it was great. I would mention, in here you see Dick Bundy. He's right behind Taylor Barnes from Channel 6. And when we started this, Mr. Bundy was just a fabulous resource. He's so excited about this land, and he's a kid. Like, the next thing I know, he was just on the plane, which was a great thing. It was a great thing. Anyway, so the reason we wanted to go out there again is we had completed this fabulous site, and we wanted to celebrate the completion of the Joe B. Hood Research Laboratory. And we've done stories for years about the actual Doppler site. Now it was time to talk about the research laboratory. And actually, this photograph, so you know, I have access to this. Mr. Bundy brought me a CD full of photos that his Rick Sims' wife, I don't remember her first name. Frances Sims, thank you. Oh, it's up there too. Anyway, she went out and they've done some night shots and they're beautiful photographs that he gladly shared with the university. So that's one of her photos. While we were there, we obviously visited the site and we toured the new facilities. It was wonderful to have Mr. Bundy on site, as well as Dr. Horner, Dr. Raymond Willis, and Dr. Bill Cook. And so we also had a student out as well. And so they were able to see what we've been talking about. You know, to talk about it from afar is one thing, to actually get to touch, feel, smell it. It was great. Again, we talked about the design. Dick Bundy, you can see him leading the charge. He and Glenn Perkins are probably two of our greatest advocates for that site. They are very proud of this facility. They share, in fact, Mr. Bundy and I have worked on a couple of projects already, so he can take to his architectural groups. And so we are sharing information about that. Again, Dee and Glenn Perkins, they were the constructors on site. They're from Alpine, Texas. When I started this and started asking questions, my email was just flooded from responses from he and his wife. Again, I mentioned that Dr. Raymond Willis, he was just off of a trip to Disney World with his family. He was back for 2 days and came on site with us. Dr. Cook, of course, and then Dr. Horner was with us. And Erica, I believe her last name is Mitchell. Yes, Erica Mitchell was with us as well. And she's one of our graduate students. You know, the day really would not have been complete without these individuals. The site's fabulous. You see what we have. But to understand the studies that are going on out there, the research that they're conducting, it brings it all together. And then, lastly, we wanted to recognize the efforts of our faculty, staff, and donors who made this site a reality. And we talked a lot about Dr. Dahlquist, and we talked a lot about, we just brought it all together with that. And obviously, without our donors, we wouldn't be where we are at. And so we're very appreciative to them and their efforts. Again, if you see the Kimball family, please thank them for helping us with the transportation to the site. They were instrumental in helping us. The Hood family, they're all listed in the packet that I gave you. I gave you a little brochure. I hope you'll take that and display it proudly on your desk or have it as a conversation piece, because it really is a fabulous site.
Was that Marlin Perkins on the far right?
I'm happy to answer any questions. It sounds like we will be planning another trip for some Regents.
You did a great job getting it together, Julie. We appreciate it. I have to say, Lana, I hope you read her first article, her pre-article about going. I really admire her because she was not really keen on making this trip. She was talking about the people who died in small airplanes, rattlesnakes, etc. But she was brave and did a great job. And we really appreciate the wonderful articles. And I was impressed with the way that your work was picked up by other newspapers. I got calls from presidents of other cities. So, Lana, thank you. Okay. Shall I continue?
Please.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
We had other donors too, right? The McCoys for the water and, right?
Yes, I overlooked that. Jim gave gave money to put the well in early before we ever built the water station. He was very interested in it. It's photoelectric powered, and the thing about it, it is so far out. It's so remote that the water is very clean. There's no bacteria in it. We don't have to treat it, and we have an excellent well in place. So under that Chihuahua Desert is a great option for us. We did this very well. Yes, that is true. And then we have the other 4 families that gave to putting this together. Yeah.
And Dr. Horner has been such an implementer in all of this. Is there opportunity to express our appreciation to him and have we done it?
We have, the board hasn't, and it would mean a lot to Nora. This is a lifetime, not a lifetime, it's a professional lifetime friend of Dr. Horner. He's really the guy that pushed that, he pushed me, Betty, everybody to get this done. And he's made every effort to get it done. It'd be great. It
ever been there, you know the effort he has to put in to be the chaperone or escort, or chaperone's probably the right word.
Yeah, I know.
And the effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I will close us out this morning. I've had a lot to think about, and in the last few months, and I would like to take a few minutes to tell you that I actually started cleaning my office out 6 months ago because I knew it would be difficult. It took me 4 months to throw away my notes from undergraduate organic chemistry and graduate courses, but I finally did it. I asked my granddaughter if she wanted them, and she looked at me like I'd lost my mind, so I got rid of that. Then my textbooks went next, and I thought, who in the world would want these? And we called over to Bill Cook and a couple of our science faculty member, the mathematicians too. I had books in mathematics, chemistry, and physics. And I don't know whether they have my feelings hurt or not, but they were so excited. It was that they had found rare books. They said, "Oh, this is a classic. I've heard about this book in my life. I want it." So I felt fairly good about that. So they went next, and then basically I knew it would be difficult to clean it out. And I think I wrote you all an email telling you one of the really great pleasures about ending one part of your life and career and starting another one was the things that you heard and the things that were said about you and so forth. I got albums from several people that I don't know personally that had saved articles in the paper and written these stories about their life and about what their opinion of Midwestern was. I was really very pleased and even shocked about that, and many other notes and congratulations from students that I had not heard of in 40 years or so. So really, that was a great pleasure of ending my time at this university. This morning, I was walking out and I saw a piece of paper and I asked Karen what it was. She said, "I don't know. It's something about when you became president." And I just picked it up at that time and read it. I think it was written by our longtime and great friend Millie Gore, who's a professor in the College of Education for many years. And this was written when Texas Association of College Teachers welcomed me into the university as president. And I found it relevant and touching, and if I could, I'd like to read it to you because I think it's basically true of all people in positions of great responsibility. And Millie said, "In the last 33 years, you've shown your ability to understand this university and the people who make it work. Your challenge now is not to understand us, but to overstand us, to do more than understand, to not only know us, but to reach deeper within yourself, to place the goals and needs of the university, both physical and living, ahead of your own goals and needs." I thought those were wonderful words, and I appreciate it very much. I genuinely hope that I've lived up to this lofty charge, and if I have done that, it's because I have been fortunate enough to be surrounded by great students, one of them sitting across the table from me right now, a talented faculty and administration, great boards, and a very, very generous and trusting community. Midwestern State University has given me huge professional opportunities, and I leave with a great and positive belief in Midwestern State University's future. I thank you, and go Mustangs, and I hope I see you at the first football game in September. Thanks very much.
Wow. Thank you, Jesse. The thing is that Jesse and I were friends prior to me beginning on the board, and with his encouragement, applied, and we've become really, I want to say, really close friends. And I think most of y'all know that he started his career as a machinist, and so back putting himself through school, so I do have a still have a machine for you.
Okay.
So get tired of
Karen-
fishing or.
Karen may send me out to try to
Karen
run
runs
it.
the other house and also, but, we just want to say thank you for devoting 48 years of your life to this university. I couldn't think of a finer man, to have run this university. I really do appreciate your dedication to the university.
I do appreciate that.
And I'd like to open it up to the board, if anybody else would like to have any comments for Dr. Rogers. I'd like to open it up to anybody else.
It's all been said.
It's all been said.
Well, I came to this university in the same year that Dr. Rogers did. And I was 18, and I guess you had to be like 26 maybe?
I was
26 years old. Of course, I thought he was much older at the time. Had him, not the first year, because I don't think he taught freshman chemistry or whatever, then yeah. Had him the second year, and then took physical chemistry. And as most of you know, I teach in high school now, and so I still teach some of the things, some of the same expressions. I don't think they would be generally appreciated, but they're really some of the same expressions that Dr. Rogers used, I use in class, and I give you credit for it, and I say, this is something I learned when I was your age, I tell them, which is hard for them to imagine. When I was your age, this is what a great chemistry teacher taught me, is if you want to learn about what's happening in a chemical reaction, like economists follow the money, you follow the electrons. And while that may not have a lot of meaning to all of you, it has a great deal of meaning as you go in and do the science. And so a number of other things like that with Dr. Rogers. And so that was that experience, which stood me in good stead. I was able to present at the President's Excellence Circle one time and went into some detail about what a wonderful career I got to have because of the opportunity here at Midwestern. And would not have been so had it not been for Dr. Rogers. And his leadership coming along over the last years, and I've been on the board and then been renewed, and now here in my second term. And I can't say this is a happy day. It's a lot of gravity in yesterday and today, and I know there are changes, and I know there will be things different, and there will be things, this will change, and that will be better, and that will be worse, and there, that comparison. But I will say that, it will be 10 years from now, we'll still be coming back and saying, when Dr. Rogers was here, this is the way we did it. We don't have to do it that way, we'll say, but this is the way we did it, and we'll use that as a model. If you look at what you've done and our donors, we are just in a great position. So, no time is great to lead, but to lead when you're really on top is a fantastic time to go, and you are really on top, and we appreciate it. So,
Thank you. We could have known who you were at 18. I still remember you so.
I would like to add too, not only have you been such a promoter for you are Mr. Midwestern, but you're a promoter of our community, and I guess that's my involvement as much as with the university, but with the Creek Foundation, with just loving Wichita Falls, and we were so pleased to hear that you have chosen to stay here. So although you may not be in that office, we do know that you will be well known all throughout the community and tapped everywhere you go.
Others?
Well, even though I attended college here, I never personally had Jesse as a professor, but
you made your English or something?
No, yeah. French. But anyway, yeah. Nothing against the ones that didn't, but I think the number of people around this table in the room that are MSU grads is a testament to Jesse's long-time leadership. I can't think of a better testament or honor to him than what he has helped produce in this room. And thanks.
All right, thank you each and every one of you.
Mike, let me
Yes, sir,
just say
please.
that
Jesse and my career and kind of spanned. I came here in 1966. Jesse was here a year later, and we've known each other for a long, long time. Just wanted to say how much we appreciate what you've done.
Thank you, thank you. On behalf of the Board of Regents, I'd like to present this resolution to you. I really wouldn't want to give it to you because I want you to stay, but we wish you and Karen the best in your retirement, and enjoy your time relaxing and retirement, fishing, and all that. So, Debbie,
Thank you so much. Thank you. Very good. And it's all signed blue ink. That will make Barry he saw us one day.
Again, just as a personal friend, thank all you've done.
Thank you.
All right, is there any other business come before this board? If not, then we'll conclude our business day. This meeting is adjourned.